Hello and welcome back to the Saba Show. Today we are looking at Carlton's draft haul for 2022. You can see to the right hand side of me all the players we picked up. I do want to preface by saying that a lot of the stats that I am saying and all the things that have been scouted, I obviously didn't know prior. This is all stuff I've sourced off the web and from experts, if you could call them that. If you do enjoy this one, make sure to show your support. But let's dive right in. I also want to preface this by saying that my voice is cooked, so please excuse me. I've just done a 2.5 hour stream. Let's get into it though. Ollie Hollands is first up. We picked him up with our first selection, and this was highly anticipated, I think you have to say. He is 183 centimeters tall and 71 kilos. The man is most notably known for his endurance and two-way running, good decision making, and can also accumulate it on the inside. He does lack strength though, and his physical build would probably indicate that. He's pretty good winning the ball in traffic though. He's got some good inside craft, and he's pretty damaging with the footy when he gets it, and he did get it a lot. Averaged 24 touches a game for the Murray Bushrangers, and also had 23 touches for Vic Country. He does want to work on his scoreboard impact though. There wasn't too many goals from him in state league games. But another thing to note is he is a very strong competitor. He did say this in a Carlton media interview. They asked him something along the lines of who would win in like a marathon type race between him and Sam Walsh, and he said, well, I'm not sure, but I can guarantee you one thing: I'm competitive, so I'd give it a damn good shot, which is a good sign. And obviously Michael Voss has instilled into his players a mindset that involves really hard-nosed play, and this competitiveness really favors that. So that's a good pickup, and obviously fills team needs with regards to that wing spot. And next up we have Lachie Cowan, who we traded up for. We got him at pick 30. He is 187 centimeters tall and 81 kilos, so you could argue he is ready-made. He averaged 27 touches for Tassie and 22 touches for the Allies. He's been proven to show a lot of consistency, and given he won the Morris Medal, you would expect that from someone like that, a really strong all-round season. Now, with regards to his play, he's got an incredible amount of run off halfback, plenty of flair, and he's also known for athleticism, which is really good. That favours his intercept marking, which he's also good at. And if we talk about the run off halfback a little bit more, he's got some good rebounding attributes, and he also has a good long kick on him. So, when you're trying to get the ball out of your back 50 and trying to gain yardage, he's really good for that. He also has leadership skills. He has been in the position to apply those, on the way up to the AFL level. So, potentially a future leader in the making. But, that long kicking as well can help spread the play. He's just got dare about his game. So very good as an entertainer, you would imagine, watching his game. And that great intercepting ability is seen him compared to Tom Stewart, which I find really intriguing. He does need to work on remaining composed and, work on his passing in close quarters, but, he's got a lot of football ahead of him. I mean, he hasn't even started playing AFL yet. He hasn't even started training with the boys. So, there's plenty of time for improvement. But he also has the build to play on the inside, in the midfield, or on the outside as a runner. Whether the endurance base is there, I don't know. But regardless, this is a good pick, and, a player that people thought should have gone much higher in the draft. And then we have Jaxon Binns, who we picked up 2 picks later. He is a prolific outside midfielder, so he can rack him up. And he can really use his ability to apply himself as a forward. In terms of burning players, running defensively or higher up the ground, and then, beating him back to goal. He averaged about 21.5 touches for the Stingrays and a goal a game, which is good. Although that was a very inaccurate goal a game because he had 8 goals, 17 on the year, which is a weakness of his. That kicking ability probably needs a bit of work. But he's got plenty of endurance, scoreboard impact. He's got versatility, as we've mentioned. He can play in the forward line, which is a nice asset to have. But, the contested play side of things is probably something he needs to work on. And that'll probably arrive with a bit of bulk. But I think it's really good because you've got Ollie Hollands who can play on the inside and has the, proof that he can play on the inside. He's got the craft in there, whereas Binns sort of fits a different need and can play more forward. Ollie Hollands wants to sort of expand his game into the forward line where he can play one out. But, obviously that's well down the track. If we're talking about right now, though, they fit two completely different needs and you can chop and change and you got a lot of flexibility if you're Michael Voss. And the last pick was an intriguing one at pick 47, Harry Lemmey, who is 200 centimeters tall and 95 kilos. He was a pretty damn good prospect, or a very highly anticipated prospect to go in the top 10. But had a really rough season. So, he's had a lot of shit to deal with in the last year or so. Just constantly moving between seniors, reserves in the SANFL to under 18s, and then, obviously playing for South Australia in the champs, which he wasn't really good at. So, if we talk about what he did show, or what he's shown in the past couple of years, he's quick on the lead, he takes the ball cleanly overhead, he can present up the ground, and is a decent ball user and very athletic. So he's got a little bit of everything. Really strikes me as a very mobile forward for his size. If he can use the ball at 200 centimeters, that's awesome. And if he's got that ability to move up the ground, that's awesome too. And if he's already got some marking ability and knows his way around, it'll put him in good stead. He could potentially be one of those sliders. If you look into the future, 5 years' time, he could be a really good player. And people say, well, how did he fall to 47? And you just basically have to say, well, he already had the craft there. He had shown what he could do. It was just a matter of someone believing in him. And I do think, that belief is going to be ever important. The good thing is he has a strong level of resilience, so any challenge that he's faced with in his AFL career, he's already been through it this season. Constantly being in the face of doubters has allowed him to constantly possess drive to be better, which is another attribute that you really want to have, especially as a young player. And he's shown it. And now if we talk about my thoughts, if we talk about it logistically, this first thing, you probably can't think too much into it, but Cowan and Hollands, the fact that they are both Carlton supporters, they get us. And they're going to buy in straight away into whatever system Michael Voss has got going. They know what the club's about. We're longing for success. I guarantee they want it too. And they'll also be able to shadow their idols. With Cowan, that's Doherty. With Hollands, that's Walsh. And that'll also make them better players because they play the same positions. So that's going to put them in good stead going forward in terms of their development. Harry Lemmey, as a long-term prospect, I don't think he's going to get much game time, obviously. We did see that he has flexibility in playing back, and he did that in the back half of the season. But the fact that he's got Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow there to mentor him on the way through and potentially fill in for one of those two if they go down. We saw Charlie have to shoulder the load as the primary forward on a number of occasions when Harry went down. So if Harry Lemmey is capable and shows it, he's got the size, probably not the craft yet, but, if one of those two go down, you can bring him in and say, we need you to play and do your job. And I can probably say that he may be able to do that. Regardless, if you've got two of the best key forwards in the game, a wonderful partnership in the AFL in terms of key forwards, Harry Lemmey, he's going to be benefiting greatly from that. And then if you talk at it from a general standpoint, just the dressing team needs was a main point of focus, and it's good that the Carlton recruiting team looked at what they needed to do, had a plan, and executed the plan without deviating at all. I mean, you got Hollands and Binns, you got two wingers who have, as I said, they've got different attributes to them, and they can be played flexibly. And then you've got Lachie Cowan, who, I mean, granted, the guy's probably ready to play AFL football with the size, but, I mean, it's the most stacked part of the ground, probably for us, the back line. He will be, a guy that we can look into for the future. And then the same with Harry Lemmey as well. But all four of these guys could be equally capable of playing AFL footy right now. Obviously, it remains to be seen what their impact would be. But, we did see the next man up mentality last season. And, these young guys were stepping up, especially in the start of the season. Jesse Motlop came in and did a job. Corey Durden did a job. Jack Carroll came in and played a couple good games. You had players coming in and playing their role. Lewis Young came in, did a job. Boyd. You get what I'm saying. And these players potentially could build off that. As I said, if there's buy-in into the system that Voss is preaching, and, the players are going to respect that, and they're going to perform, and we could potentially have the same output. So even if players go out, these guys should be ready, waiting in the wings, all things considered, to come in and do their job as well. It also raises uncertainty for some other players on the roster, or the list. I've been watching too much basketball. Cottrell and O'Brien on the wings, I mean, where do they stand? Given Hollands and Binns comes in and, they could potentially have more of an impact. Blake Acres has already kicked one of them out. And, Lachie Cowan could potentially, make some other players seem a little bit, jittery in terms of their security in the best 22. But I do think it's going to do wonders for our depth, and it could also impact us in the long term and future-proof us, as well as helping us in the short term. Overall, I think not one pick seemed unreasonable or a head-scratcher. It was all rational, well thought out, considered. I just think all sensible picks, and look, I do think that the moving up of picks into or in a stacked draft was a really smart move, because there were some good players you could get in the 30s and 40s, and it was a really good idea to get rid of that future second rounder, because we're going to be contending for the 4. I mean, that's going to age so badly, but that pick shouldn't hold as much value. And we know what we're going to get, or we have like a rough idea of what we're going to get with Lachie Cowan, and if we thought it was worthwhile, then obviously we see something good in him, and potentially it could translate onto the footy field and really serve as a wonderful steal of a player. So, overall, excellent draft by the Blues. You can't really complain. There wasn't really any situations where we lost out. Anyway, that'll do it for me. Hope you enjoyed this one. Drop a like and subscribe if you're new. We've got a Carlton documentary in the works, so stay tuned for that. And also, share your thoughts in the comments as to what you thought about the draft. I think it was a pretty good one. That'll do it. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.